Experience Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania in 3D.
Scott Lang, you have a daughter. You're an Avenger. But out here, you're out of your league.
On February 17th.
Kang's a monster. He can shatter existence.
An Avenger.
I don't care what he can do. I'm getting us home.
Must face a conqueror.
You may not want her to watch this.
I'm sorry, Cassie.
Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Experience it in 3D. February 17th. Rated PG-13. May be inappropriate for children under 13.
Hi, and welcome to Deep Dive with Jamie Stein, where we take a deep dive look at all things reality TV, pop culture, and the world at large. I'm an intuitive and an empath, which means I pick up on the thoughts, feelings, and energy percolating in other people and the world around me. I believe there is meaning waiting to be found at every turn if you're willing to see it. So join me as we dismantle everything from trash TV to high spiritual concepts and learn more about ourselves, each other, and how we're all connected. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Deep Dive with Jamie Stein. I am going to do a little bit of a different episode this week. This is going to be my first ever solo episode. It's going to be a little bit more freeform. It's going to be a little bit briefer. I was actually away all last week up in the mountains of Big Sur, helping to facilitate a workshop. For those of you who don't know, in addition to being an intuitive and an empath and whatever else you might want to call me, I actually have therapeutic training in a body-based therapy called Radical Aliveness, which grew out of another form of body-based psychotherapy called core energetics. And so sometimes I go back to my therapeutic roots and I assist the woman who trained me to facilitate these very deep, very powerful workshops up at the Esalen Institute in Big Sur. And this was our first workshop since the pandemic. It was one of the first workshops that Esalen has hosted since the outbreak of the coronavirus. And we went up there and had a 20-plus person workshop with COVID safety measures and just helped people to go into really, really deep places of feeling, deep places of terror and rage and love and pleasure and all the different threads and flavors of the human experience. So that is all just to say that I was off the grid for a week. I had almost no wireless service, no cellular reception, and since being back, I of course have just been recuperating and recovering from the very deep week. So I did not record one of my usual full-length podcasts with a guest, but thought it would be a cool opportunity to just try something a little bit different. So it's just going to be me, my microphone, and you. And I thought I would just take this opportunity to drop in to some of the conflicts currently playing out on the housewives and just see what wants to come forward. So we're going to do it kind of quick and dirty, no fuss, no muss, go straight to the unconscious landscape. It will be minimally edited, and we'll just see where this wants to go. All right. Having said that, I thought I would start with the Sutton, Stracke, Crystal, Minkoff conflict on Beverly Hills. It's kind of been the main storyline of the season so far. And, these two are clearly very triggered by each other. Sutton, very much the instigator. It felt like Sutton had charge and heat around Crystal pretty much from the beginning. With very little explanation as to what was going on with her on a deeper level. So I just thought it would be a fun and interesting place to start to drop into Sutton towards Crystal and to see what wants to come up. So having said that, I'm going to go in and see what I feel towards Crystal as Sutton Stracke. Yeah, it's interesting. So when I drop in to Sutton towards Crystal, I mean, I want to say I immediately just feel this flash of reactive anger, and I want to push Crystal away. And I notice as Sutton, my head is turning to the side, like my eyes looking elsewhere. And I'm just hearing the words, I don't want to see it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to know it. It's like as Sutton, I don't even want to take Crystal in. I just want to breeze right past her. I want to push her out. I don't want to take her all the way in. Something about her outrages me. And it's like if I take her in, if I stop long enough to truly take her in, then I'm going to have to deal with this outrage. I'm going to have to deal with what she triggers inside me. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to know about the place that Crystal is going to take me. I don't want to know about the anger that comes up in me in relationship to Crystal. So I just want to push her aside, look the other way, breeze past her, and just kind of not have anything to do with her, sort of shut her out. Now, having said that, if I drop back into Sutton and I kind of encourage myself to look at Crystal and take her in, yeah, it's so again, I feel this energy in me that just wants to push her away, but the words that are coming out are, it's not fair. It's not fucking fair. I was supposed to be you. I was supposed to be you. Yeah, it's kind of like as Sutton, I'm looking at Crystal. Oh God. Oh, this is hitting me really deep in the heart. Yeah. I'm looking at Crystal and I'm seeing this woman who to me represents, well, certainly the woman who has it all. But more than that, the specific flavor of it is very much like the spoiled little princess who's being taken care of, right? Like she's got the wealthy husband, she's got the family, she's got the beautiful house, she's young, she's beautiful, she's got all the nice things. And it's like, it is this sense of, you're the spoiled princess who's taken care of and has it all. And that's supposed to be me. That was supposed to be me. So I am definitely feeling, what I would call a resentment, what you might call an envy or a jealousy towards Crystal very much living a sort of spoiled, pampered life that Sutton feels entitled to in her own life or felt like that's what she was going to have for herself. And now she doesn't have it. So I do think a lot of this is connected most likely to the fact that she's been somewhat recently divorced. She's acknowledged on the show that she was more upset about letting go of her home than she had realized. So to me, this is further confirmation that there's really deep feelings around the fact that her marriage is over. It's ended. And as I say that again, I kind of feel this pang in my heart where it's like, it almost feels to me as Sutton like a personal rejection or a failure on her part. Like there's a way in which the failure in her mind of the marriage is like a personal failure on her part, and that it's like a personal rejection of her and her worthiness of this life rather than just two adults who are coming to a mutual decision that this relationship no longer works for them. Yeah, it's just, it was supposed to be me is the voice I keep hearing, and it's not fair. These are the voices I hear. But it's interesting too, because as I continue to take Crystal in from Sutton's point of view, there's a twofold experience here. One, there's the voice that's saying, I'm supposed to be the spoiled little princess who very much has the life that you currently have. But there's also another voice that comes in that I want to say feels unworthy. Like as Sutton, I don't feel good enough for you, Crystal. I feel on the perimeter or the outside of your universe. I feel like you're going to judge me. I feel like you're going to dismiss me. So as Sutton, I'm walking this line between, on the one hand, feeling entitled to the life that you have and feeling like I'm the one who actually deserves the life you have, but at the same time also feeling like I'm not worthy to belong in your universe or your world. I just hear these voices saying, I don't truly belong here. Yeah, it's this voice that says I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not thin enough, I'm not pretty enough. There's something in me that feels like I don't fully belong here, and that you're going to exclude me, you're going to reject me, I'm not good enough to hang with you. And I'm noticing, so it feels like there's this mixed message that lives inside Sutton. One side of it saying there's something I'm entitled to, and the other side of it saying, I'm not good enough for it. And I can feel as Sutton, that mixed message makes me so angry. And again, it's an anger I don't want to know. I don't want to have to acknowledge this anger. I don't want to have to acknowledge that this anger exists in myself. It's almost like it's going to take me somewhere deep inside myself that I don't feel like I have full permission to feel. And if I keep following this thread, it's almost like if I'm this young Sutton who's born into like a privileged, wealthy family. I don't actually know that much about Sutton, but this is just kind of the vibe, the energetic vibe I get. It's almost like as Sutton, I'm born into this world or into this family or into this culture that basically says, Sutton, this is how you're supposed to be. Like, you're supposed to look a certain way. You're supposed to act a certain way. I'm really feeling something here around also what it means to be a woman. Like, this is what it means to be a woman of worth. This is what it means to be, a young woman or a girl or a woman of worth. This is how you're supposed to act. This is how you're supposed to present. These are the values that we find attractive. There's a certain way that you're supposed to be. And then there's an overlying message on that saying, Sutton, you're not that. Like, this is who you're supposed to be, and Sutton, you aren't that. And it's okay. We love you anyway, but you're not that. And so as Sutton, it's sort of like, because she's sort of an odd duck, you know, sort of coming into this world as this oddball with this sort of unique, eccentric, kooky energy. And it's almost like she doesn't fit a specific mold. And then she gets these messages, Sutton, we want you to kind of fit more of a mold. I mean, you don't fit that mold. We love you anyway, but we're also really clear you don't fit that mold. And so then as Sutton, it's like I'm trying to fit a mold. It's the mold I'm supposed to fit, but it's not who I really am. So I've got all this messaging that tells me my currency and worth as a human being, as a woman, is to look, feel, and act a certain way. And so that's the part I'm playing. I'm trying to play this part of this kind of like what Crystal is, as like this really beautiful, kind of feminine woman who's, lands the wealthy man, has it all together, is taken care of. There's a certain part that I'm meant to play. And that's sort of where I feel my currency lives, but it's not really true to who I am. And it's an ill fit. And so I'm getting all this messaging too, that somehow I'm less than because this role isn't coming naturally to me. So there's both a part of me that wants it and feels entitled to it and demands it, but then also a part of me that doesn't actually feel like I belong or I'm not good enough. And so I think that's where the rage is coming, because I think there's a place, again, this is unconscious, right? I think there's a place where Sutton realizes she's been getting all these mixed messages. And so it's like there's a part of her that wants to scream, hey, I'm me, let me be me, see the worth of me and who I am, stop trying to make me into something I'm not. There's that core anger. But then kind of a step above that is the part of her that's saying, I'm trying to be something, let me be it, let me be it, let me be it. And that's almost why I think she sort of takes the divorce so personally, because she's almost internalizing it as this personal failure on her part to live up to this image of whom she has been taught she is supposed to be from a young age. And then on top of that, there's the part of her that feels like she doesn't belong, that she's getting rejected. And there's that anger in her that wants to say, don't reject me. Let me be good enough. So there's all these different layers of outrage and rejection. And I think when she sees Crystal, Crystal is just so externalizing the woman that she on some level wishes she could effortlessly be. And on top of that, Crystal is younger than her. Her marriage is still together. And I do get the sense that Sutton must be coming from a place where, she's just gotten divorced. She's now in her middle age. And if she's been invested in playing these roles and it's coming to a point in her life where it's not working out for her, I can imagine that sort of looking across the room and seeing someone who looks on the surface like she's got it all together, plus she's got her youth, her relative youth still, that it's going to, trigger even more of that deeper level of rage. And I think in the place where Sutton doesn't want to know that level of rage, she's just furious about it. Now, before we move on from Sutton, I also just wanted to touch down briefly on the kind of inciting incident of her conflict with Crystal, which was Sutton's very triggered reaction to the race conversation, which again, to the common observer, felt very unwarranted and disproportionate to what was going on. Like, Sutton was triggered in a very deep way with very little explanation as to what was happening. So I just thought it might be interesting in context of what we just explored to drop in on that specific conversation and just see what might be there. Okay, I'm going into Sutton specifically in relationship to Crystal starting to share some of her experience as a Chinese American woman. It is funny because I just immediately, like, my eyes roll in the back of my head, and I just hear it's very Valerie Cherish. I just hear the word saying, "I don't want to hear that." I don't want to hear that. Let me drop into it a little bit more deeply. Yeah, again, so for me as Sutton, it comes back to this really real, well, what feels real to Sutton, this experience of Crystal as this spoiled little princess who has everything. And in this place where, as Sutton, I'm viewing and experiencing Crystal as a spoiled little princess who has everything, it's like, I don't want to hear about your difficulties. I don't want to hear about, your challenges. You don't really have challenges. I have challenges. And then if I just keep dropping into it a little bit more deeply, it's almost like I don't believe her. It's like, oh, you're looking for something to complain about because you don't actually have any real issues or challenges. And then if I just keep going with it, I don't want to have to sit here and feel sorry for you. I don't want to have to sit here and hear about how you feel unseen and how you feel misheard and how you feel misunderstood and how and how you're marginalized and how you're an outsider. Because as Sutton, deep down on an unconscious level and perhaps even conscious, I feel unseen. I feel unheard. I feel misunderstood. I feel like I'm an outsider. I'm the outsider, not you. You're the one who has it all together. You're the one who has the very life that I'm actually wanting for myself. So I don't want to hear your made up stories about how you're the outsider. So I think this is a classic example of someone, in this case a white person, who's so lost in her own personal story, her own personal emotions, her own personal triggers, that she really can't see beyond them. And in the place where it feels like Sutton's triggered in something really deeply personal, she's very, very quick to discount and doubt Crystal's experience as a woman of color. So it all kind of makes sense. It feels like there's a through line in terms of what's coming through. All right, so I'm going to take a pause, take a little sip of my cafe au lait. And now I want to switch gears. Oh, God. I just noticed a little fear come up. Is this Crystal's fear? I said I was going to switch gears and drop into Crystal towards Sutton and see what's coming up for Crystal around Sutton, particularly because I think she had such a strong reaction to being walked in on nude and had such a depth of feeling there that it just feels to me like, yes, Crystal has every right and reason to have issues with Sutton and her behavior at this Tahoe trip. And at the same time, it also feels like stuff is getting triggered for Crystal on what I would call a personal historical level. And so I'm curious to see what might be there when we drop into Crystal. So I'm going to start just by kind of staying more general with the Tahoe trip, and I'm just going to kind of drop into Crystal, bring in Sutton, and see what energy I feel on a bigger picture level. Okay, so this is me going into Crystal towards Sutton. It's really interesting. It's much like Sutton to Crystal. It's this immediate sense like I don't want to look at you. Like I mean, it's different flavor with Sutton to Crystal. It was kind of like I said, sort of a pushing away, but not like an aggressive pushing away. More like a breezing past. I just kind of want to skirt by you and keep you in the periphery. With Crystal to Sutton, it feels more aggressive. It's like I want nothing to do with you. I want to stomp you out. I want to stomp you out. So if I just stay with this for a second, get away from me. Yeah, it's like, get away from me. Get the fuck away from me. I want to stomp you out. Yeah, I want to stomp you out. Again, like with Sutton, it's this feeling of like, I don't want to take you in. I don't want to look at this. I don't want to see it. I don't want to know it. And I want to stomp it out. So if I just kind of drop in and coax Crystal to be still with Sutton and to really take her in. Yeah. So it's interesting. It's like, I mean, it's mean. It's like, you're a fucking weirdo. Like, you're a weirdo. You're a mess. Like the way in which Sutton allows herself to be visible in her messiness and to externalize her messiness, and the way in which Sutton is just kind of like just such a in some ways she's a very unapologetic eccentric. You know, I'm just thinking now of her, you know, her breakdowns. She cries so easily. She's using the roller. Like, she's very naked and transparent in how much of a mess she can be. And I can just feel as Crystal, it's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, we don't do that. And again, it is just this feeling of like, there's something fucking weird about you and I don't like it. So if I just kind of keep staying with that for a moment, if I'm Crystal and I'm taking in Sutton's weirdness, yeah, it's like you're letting yourself be something that I would never let myself be. It's almost like I don't want to know the messy weirdo in you because I don't want to know. Oh God, this is it. I just felt the pain in the heart again. I felt the fear again as Crystal. It's like, I don't want to know the messy weirdo in me. I don't want to know the places where I'm weird. I don't want to know the places where I'm different. I don't want to know the places where I'm messy. I don't want to know the places where I feel like an outsider. And as Crystal, it's kind of like what's coming up for me. What I'm really feeling and hearing is like, I've done everything in my life to make sure I'm not an outsider. I've played by all the rules. I've done everything right. And then when I see it in Sutton, yeah, it provokes something really angry in me and vicious. It feels a little bit like I'm feeling a little bit of that Lord of the Flies energy. Like I don't think Crystal would ever let it show, but it feels definitely kind of mean girl, but like in a really vicious way of like, I want to stomp you out. I want to take you down in this place where I don't want to take in your inner weirdo. I want to stomp out the inner weirdo. And I feel like for me as Crystal, it's like, I want to stomp out the inner weirdo in me. And because I don't want to know that place in me, I want to stomp it out in Sutton, and it is going to feel so fucking good. And it's almost like as I'm talking, what I'm also getting off this is that there's some place, like I feel like there is a part of Crystal that feels like an outsider and like that she does have an inner weirdo. And it's almost this feeling or this energetic impression as Crystal that, I feel like I got betrayed by my own inner weirdo. Like there was a time in my life where I did embody that energy, or I let myself have that part of myself, and I paid a price for it. And rather than directing my anger or my hurt outward, which I probably didn't feel like there was space for, instead I'm turning it against me. I'm turning it against that part of myself. I feel so betrayed by the place where I was a weirdo and I paid a price for it, and now I want to stomp it out. I want to stomp it out in myself. I want to stomp it out in others. And so when I see Sutton embodying this, it's like, you are being everything I have trained myself not to be. And I want to just take it out on you. I'm not allowed to be that. You're not allowed to be that. And there's like a power that I get. Like, it's like if I stomp it out in you, and if I'm kind of like mean to you, again, not outwardly, I think Crystal she's too self-aware and too controlled to ever let that cruelty really show. So I think she's someone who's going to do it like in very passive aggressive ways. But if I sort of take it out on you, there's a way in which I get like a false sense of power out of it. It's like, I'm better than you, I'm better than that, I'm better than the weirdo, I'm never going back to that weird place again, you're never gonna hurt me there again, whoever she's talking to, you're never gonna hurt me there again. So what I think is really interesting about all this is that, you know, Sutton and Crystal are in this conflict, right? And it actually feels like, though, and this is often the case with conflicts, it feels like there's actually a really like strong common denominator between them in the unconscious landscape. It feels like they both have this relationship to what it means to be an outsider. And I think that they both have a painful relationship to the outsider in them. And I think they wear it differently. I think Sutton's kind of carrying the burden of the one who doesn't fit in and is trying to at all costs. And I think Crystal is sort of wearing it more as the woman who does successfully fit in, but at the price of disowning something inside of herself. And I think the healing for them, like if I were working with the two of them, would really be about both of them claiming the inner outsider, you know, in their true energy and, you know, kind of letting themselves feel whatever pain might be there, but also sort of being willing to get reacquainted with the truth of who they are. And I actually think if they both did that, they probably have a lot more in common than they realize. And I think it's interesting that they both come from, you know, kind of what I would call like strongly defined cultures. I think of Sutton, you know, she comes from like strong Southern culture. You know, we've already heard Crystal talk about the strong Chinese culture she grew up in. And, you know, my understanding is that these are cultures that, you know, they're very, in a lot of ways, both collectivist, you know, that I think, you know, in my work with people, a lot of times there's not room for feeling like you have a right to your individual energy and to go against the grain and to be a little bit weird. So I just think that's interesting. Now, having said all that, I did want to just kind of drop in briefly specifically towards the naked piece, just because, again, Crystal was so triggered by that. So I'm just going to drop in right now to Crystal towards Sutton, specifically around Sutton coming in with Crystal's coat and catching Crystal naked. And I just want to see what I'm going to see. Okay, it's really interesting. So what comes up, again, it's very connected to what's already come through. What comes up for me around this is like, as Crystal, having like being caught naked feels vulnerable to me. And I'm not going to go too deeply into this, but I am kind of feeling like Crystal does in a way have a vulnerable relationship to her body. And so to be caught nude really feels like, you know, it's not just a casual thing for her. It feels like a private, vulnerable place. And what's coming to me is like to have it be Sutton, because I've already explored that there's an unconscious place where Crystal's really invested in having kind of a power dynamic with Sutton, where she's better than Sutton and she's stomping Sutton out and she kind of looks at Sutton as this weirdo. So Crystal, you know, as someone who is invested in control and power and I think superiority on some level, to be caught naked in this sort of vulnerable place that also feels powerless to her by the weird outsider who she's supposed to be better than. Yeah, like even just saying this, I can feel it. It's like making my body tense up. It's like, no. You're not supposed to have power over me. Like, you're not supposed to see me vulnerable. Not you, the creepy weirdo. You're not supposed to have power over me. And by catching me in this kind of undefended state, I feel like, yeah, it's not just that I got seen naked by someone. It's that I got seen naked by the weirdo. I'm supposed to have the power and the power dynamic, not you. And I think that's part of why it's taking Crystal to this place of feeling like really violated. Yeah, it's almost like when I drop into it again, it's like Sutton broke the rules somehow. Like, this isn't how the rules are set up. And just by virtue of being her awkward, kind of clumsy self, Sutton stumbled into violating the rules and catching Crystal in this vulnerable moment. And this isn't how Crystal sets up the game. And so I think it's sort of taking her to that place of powerlessness on a conscious level that she tends not to want to feel. Okay, you guys. So we're getting deep into it. I have one last one that I thought I would do. I thought I would get into Leah McSweeney towards Heather Thompson on Roni. Again, I'm just sort of going to where it seems like people are triggered. Obviously, Leah had never met Heather before, and I think we all saw just really had her sights set on icing her out before she even got there. And so it just made me curious, like, what is going on a deeper level inside Leah towards Heather Thompson? Okay, so having said that, I'm just going to drop in. I'm going to kind of go into Leah around the time of this Hamptons getaway, and I'm going to go into Leah towards Heather Thompson and see what I see. Yeah, so unsurprisingly, yeah, it's just like immediately, it's just, I mean, there's a theme here today. It's again kind of Leah wanting to just push her away, and I'm just hearing the words like, get the fuck out of here. Let me drop into it a little bit more deeply, and I'll just kind of coax Leah to really look at Heather and take her in on a deeper level. It's interesting. I'm kind of surprised. I mean, as Leah, I do feel threatened by Heather coming in. There's a flavor here of territorialism, and kind of what I want to call unpredictability. Like, as Leah, I'm taking in Heather. I feel it's interesting. It's interesting because the information that's coming through is so counter to how Leah presents herself. But what I'm picking up is that there's a place where Leah's actually a control freak. And I think she wants to, in some way, sort of control the narrative or the dynamic of the show. And what's coming up for me as I take Heather in is she's kind of like this unknown factor. And so as Leah, it's almost like I've established my place and role on the show. I came in, I secured my spot. I'm a fan favorite. You know, as I'm saying all this, I'm also suddenly aware that, you know, even Ebony, the new woman, has sort of come in as my friend, and she's an ally of mine. There's kind of a certain rank that I almost feel in the current cast dynamic. Like, they know they have to take me seriously. I've got things to say. Like, I just feel confident and situated in my place on the show and in the cast. And so then it's like when I'm looking at Heather, I'm seeing this kind of X factor. You know, she's this woman. She's not coming in as my friend. So there's a way in which I can't control her. She's also a bit of an OG. I mean, not like technically she wasn't around since the first season, but she's a former cast member who has a history with these other women. And as Leah, I start to feel like my place on the show or my place in this cast feels a little more tentative. It's like I don't know where this could go. It's almost like there's some nagging fear or concern, like the tide could turn against me. Like I could end up on the outside. Like I don't know what this is going to do to the dynamic. And as I continue to take Heather in, it's I'm a little bit threatened by the fact that she's in my industry. She, I believe, is more successful than I am. Like, she's really got like a really successful business doing what she does. She has like the celebrity, clientele. She's really successful at what she does. And, also I'm kind of taking her in as a wife and a mother. Now, Leah's also a mother, but what I'm aware of kind of as I'm feeling into all this is, Heather has the marriage. She's got the kid. She's got the really successful business. It's almost like as Leah, when I look at Heather, I sort of see, and again, this is not Jamie's judgment. This is my experience as Leah. It's like the elevated version of who I am. And I want to say as Leah, it's like, one, it kind of threatens me and makes me feel a little inferior, but I also don't trust it. I have this inherent distrust of Heather as someone who kind of embodies a more, it's almost like I want to say, it sounds like weird language to use, but like a more traditional woman, not traditional in the sense of like a housewife, but a traditional woman in the sense of, like I said, just the more polished, super successful entrepreneur, wife, mother. There's something about Heather as I'm saying all this. It's like she's like a modern woman, but there's also, I mean, there's something kind of also old school about her too, if that makes sense. Like she kind of checks all the boxes in a really kind of like, like if you were just to sort of create the prototype of like a modern day successful woman, like that's Heather to a T. Whereas Leah sort of defines herself by being this kind of scrappy, rule breaking underdog. Like, yes, she's successful, but she's doing it with this sort of smaller company it's about streetwear. It's about giving the middle finger to like, mainstream culture. Even the way she started the company, it was like she got in trouble with the cops. She sued them. She said F you to the cops. She got her little pile of money, which she used to start her business. Like there's a way in which she's like a little bit like she's kind of like a rascal, and she kind of defines herself that way. And that even feels like the flavor of the energy of the hold that she has on the cast of like, I was kind of Cyclone Leah or Rascal Leah who sort of blew through the Roni cast and kind of established my little enclave and my little hold, my little place in the cast. And it's almost like as Leah, I almost have this feeling of like my place on Roni. It's almost like this big rollicking ship on stormy seas, and it's is it called a mast? Like the mast with the sail is kind of crickety, and there may be holes in the side of the ship and some water's coming in. And so I'm sort of doing everything I can just to hold it together. I want to kind of keep this ship going, but it feels like it could collapse at any moment. And so that's what I'm saying. There's sort of a control issue here. And so when I look at Heather, she just feels like this X factor. She feels like everything that I'm not. And she feels like this X factor that could kind of come in and cause my ship to capsize. And I don't like that. And I don't trust her. She's the man. I'm the rebel. She's the man. She's the thing that I have to react against. There's a little bit of those mom issues coming in for her too. So let me just sort of drop in again and just see if I see anything else. Yeah, it feels so territorial. It's like I'm hearing the word, this is my turf. Oh, no, mom, you're not coming in here and shaking things up. You're not coming. I worked hard to establish my place in this circle. This is my turf. You are not breezing in here with your super successful business and your perfect looking life and screwing things up for me. This is my turf, and I'm doing it my way. And there is something about kind of giving the FU, the middle finger, to a woman who kind of represents what I'm experiencing is kind of like that old school, more kind of mainstream model of things. I'm gonna fucking show you. You're not taking this away from me, and I'm gonna fucking show you. Yeah, this just feels like the part of Leah that's so invested in being, again, here's a theme, and being an outsider. That's the thing. Sutton and Crystal need to, in a way, they need to take a page from Leah. Leah owns being an outsider. I mean, I think to a fault. I think she kind of martyrs herself there and seeks to be misunderstood. It's like if someone has, let's just say, like, they have a really bad pimple. Like, they want to make a joke about the pimple before someone else can make a joke about the pimple. So that way they're kind of controlling the narrative. I feel like Leah likes to paint herself as the outsider who's going to be rejected before anyone else can reject her, because for her, it's sort of a lot less painful if she sort of sets the wheels in motion rather than risking just being herself and wearing her heart on her sleeve and being rejected, in a place of vulnerability like that. And so I just feel like Leah's deep commitment to being an outsider in that place where she's martyring herself as an outsider, she's got a point to prove. And Heather is the exact right kind of like mainstream target for that FU energy. Yeah. So this is my turf. You're not taken from me. And then I'm going to prove a fucking point. You are not wanted here. You're not allowed here. Get the hell out of my house is what I'm hearing from Leah. All right, you guys. That's it for now. So I felt like we went pretty deep into those three women. Thanks for being here with me. And let me know if you like this kind of format, if you would like to hear more solo episodes, if you'd like just some more concentrated deep dives. And, again, let me know who you want to hear from. And also, while I'm here by myself, I'll just take this opportunity to really thank everyone who's been listening. I think I'm like 8 episodes into this podcast, and there's an audience out there, and you guys are engaged, and I'm hearing from you, and I just want you to know, like, I'm just grateful for all of it. I'm grateful for the ratings. I'm grateful for the reviews. I'm grateful for the emails. I'm grateful for the DMs. Creating content, creating podcasts, it's not something that necessarily I ever saw myself doing, and it's definitely, for me, leaning into visibility in ways that aren't always comfortable for me. So I just really appreciate the engagement, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where this is going. So truly, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for being here, and please feel free to keep in touch. And I'm really excited for some forthcoming episodes. I've got some exciting guests coming up, and we're definitely going to do some what I hope to be are very kind of intriguing deep dives in terms of some stuff that's currently going on in the housewives landscape. All right, guys, till next time. Oh, follow me on Instagram if you don't already, JAMIESTEIN. I'm always creating content there. Sometimes I'm answering quick hit questions. And if you feel drawn to explore working together, head over to my website, www.hollywoodreadings.com. You can read about the work there, and you can send me an email there. Okay, thanks, guys. Till next time.